Welcome to Fantasy Nuts. My name's Luke Evans. This is the recap of Monday night's game and my waiver wires for Week 6. So if you like the content, hit a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. Let's talk about it. All right, guys, let's talk about Monday night's game. Man, that game was packed full of surprises from beginning to end. First half, Ravens looked like they were about ready to get upset. Carson's was looking pretty good. In fact, he looked good all game, really. He had 402 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor, what an amazing running back. Had over 100 yards receiving on 3 receptions, a reception touchdown, and a rushing touchdown. I love Jonathan Taylor. He's a stud. Michael Pittman also looked really good. He's showing he's a really good wide receiver, super talented. I love Michael Pittman. Then we get to the halftime show, and we find out that John Gruden is resigning or getting let go. I think forced into resigning. This is a surprise. They obviously released more emails from the information that was released today of his misogynistic, racist tendencies to minority groups, gay women. He deserves to be fired. It stinks that this is still happening right now in this type of day and era. But what are you going to do? It makes you wonder what that what's going to happen to the Raiders, how they're going to recover. Hopefully, they started off really good this year. Hopefully they can get a coach in there that inspires some loyalty and brings some energy and allows them to start winning again. We'll see what happens. I feel bad for that team right now. It's a bad situation to be in. But, again, he deserves what he got, and Chucky's dead. Let's move to the second half. Second half, Lamar Jackson decided to turn his jets on and just be a stud. Come on. This guy, 440 some odd passing yards at the end of the game, 4 touchdowns, 2 to Andrews, 2 to Marquez, 2 extra point conversions to Mark Andrews. This was by far his best game ever. There was a stat that came out saying he's the only quarterback to throw for over 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, and rush for over 50 yards. So there's a record. He just set one, and pretty awesome. That finish was sweet in OT. It was definitely a great game, fun game to watch. It was just a surprise, like I said, from beginning to end. You thought they were going to get upset, and then they come back and win it in great fashion in overtime. All right, guys, that's the recap of the game. Let's move into the waiver wires. All right, so for waiver wires, I'm going to give you a list here of, in order, who I would take off the waiver wire right now. List is getting smaller and smaller as the year goes on, so not as many players. I'm not going to break them up into positions. I'm just going to give you a list of how I would take them off the waiver wire in order of how I think they're going to perform for your team. So starting off, we're going to go with Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney looked amazing. He had 13 targets, 10 receptions, 180 some odd yards receiving, and a touchdown. Listen, that's Devontae Adams type numbers, okay? Travis Kelce type numbers. This is crazy. I think he continues to get that type of volume now that they've found out what they have in his talent. He's definitely could be somebody that wins leagues for people this year if he continues to play in that fashion. Second, I got Darrel Williams. With CEH going down, I like Darrel Williams. I wouldn't be surprised if Darrel Williams actually wins the starting spot if he plays well enough. Darrel Williams is a talented running back, and he's super uber good. So, yeah, he's my number 2, just on the pure fact that I think he could take that starting job over CEH. CEH has not been the best running back since he's been there. He's had a few good weeks this year, but he just has not been the best running back since he's been there. His yards per carry, yards after contact, it just isn't as good. I think Darrel Williams is a better running back. So at number 3, I got Devontae Booker. Devontae Booker, we all saw Saquon Barkley go down with that ankle injury It's a bummer, man. Like he was doing really well. He was starting to pick up and be his normal self again. We saw that ankle is super puffy, but it sounded like they got a little bit of good news. Sounds like it's not fractured or broken. So he most likely won't lose all year, but it looks like, yeah, he's going to be out for a few weeks, I think, for sure. So Devontae Booker, they paid him $6 million this year, something like that. He's a great pass catcher, and it showed. I mean, like he had like 10 targets or something like that in this last game, 10 receptions. I mean, like he was really, really good and a scorer. So Devontae Booker is going to be really, really good for PPR. I like Devontae Booker a lot. My next one is A.J. Dillon. I think A.J. Dillon is a great pickup as long as you need a running back. Now, if you need one of these other people that I talk about after this, I'd probably stick them above A.J. Dillon unless you need a running back. I think A.J. Dillon can be played on a week-to-week basis. He's used in the passing game, and they're going to start using him more. I just can feel it. And if Aaron Jones goes down, he's going to be amongst the best backup running backs that you can own in the NFL. This next one is for you quarterback owners that lost Russell Wilson or Daniel Jones. Go get Taylor Heinicke. Taylor Heinicke for a few reasons. Taylor Heinicke in week 2 through 4 averaged 20-plus fantasy points. That one of those games was against Buffalo. Okay, Buffalo, number 1D, all right. Last week, yeah, he had a rough week against New Orleans, only 9 points, but New Orleans is also right up in the top 3 Ds against quarterbacks. So he had a bad week, but this week he's playing Kansas City. Kansas City is garbage, garbage. It's just a hot dumpster fire. So, yeah, you go get Taylor Heinicke. Stick him in your lineup this week. I would bet he gets you 30 fantasy points. Easy. It's going to be a shootout. Patrick Mahomes is going to be livid that he just lost this last week, and he's going to want to probably throw like 7 touchdowns. So Taylor Heinicke is going to have to keep up with that type of production. I love Taylor Heinicke next week. I may even play him over a really good quarterback. I probably won't play him over Herbert, but still, that's how good he could be this next week, is that I'm actually contemplating sitting Herbert for him. So, and we just saw what Herbert did, so I'm not going to sit Herbert. But gosh, man, Taylor Heinicke is going to be a great play this week. All right, moving on. Let's go. Hunter Henrey is a tight end pickup that I got for you. I mean, a lot of these are, these guys are not owned in very many leagues, so you should be able to go out and grab these guys. Hunter Henrey is got now 8 targets this last week, another touchdown, had a good fantasy week. Hunter Henrey is a great stash. He could be getting into that set it and forget it tight end scenario here going forward. So, all right, last guy I have to talk about is Marquez Callaway. I think he's starting to link up with Winston there. It's not that I think you go grab him and play him right away. I think you grab him, stick him on your bench, and see what starts happening with him. He got 8 targets, big touchdowns, 24 fantasy points. He's worth the grab, I think, now. I know a lot of people have dropped him and thought he was going to be the wide receiver there in New Orleans. I still think he is. He just had a bad start to the year. I think you can go out, grab him, see what happens, stick him on your bench. Marquez Callaway ends off my waiver wire list here. All right, guys, that wraps up my Week 5 recap of Monday night's game and my Week 6 waiver wire picks. If you guys enjoyed the content, leave a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe below. I appreciate you tuning in to Fantasy Nuts. My name's Luke Evans. Stay Fantasy Nuts.